Hey guys, alright, welcome back to the part 3 of my Selenium tutorial. So now after I gave you guys a demonstration of how kind of the Blackjack game works and give you a better idea of like how it runs and the code behind it, now we're going to leverage the testing tool Selenium in order to test a few cases where for the game itself. All right. So before we get into this, we'll be writing these test cases in Python, and we'll get a better idea of how the layout is of the code. Um, and yeah, let's get into it. So I created a folder called Selenium Test, and as of now, we will do just like some simple testing. So the first few things we're going to want to do is work on importing the libraries itself. So we're going to type in from Selenium itself, we're going to want to import WebDriver. That's step number one. And then from Selenium dot WebDriver dot common by, we're going to import by. And the reason why we'll do that, this is going to be used for like selecting some of the CSS stuff. And then Selenium dot WebDriver dot Chrome dot service. So in this case, I'm importing for the Chrome library. I want to see, do they support? They support Edge, Firefox, Safari, as you can see. So for my case, I'm using Chrome, so I want to make sure to import from the Chrome library itself. And then we're going to click Service and then import service as so. I'm sure they have the same libraries for different browsers itself. And then from WebDriver Manager dot Chrome, once again, for WebDriver Manager, since I in the first video downloaded for Chrome itself, this is the only option I have available. I think they might have support for other browser, but that's something you'll have to look on yourself. Look for yourself. I always suggest just use Chrome. I find it the easiest to work with. And then we want to just import Chrome driver manager as so. And then I'll also import time as well. And the reason why I'll do that is sometimes I might just add delay between a few test cases so we can kind of pause and see what's going on a little bit. Okay, perfect. Okay, so the next step about this is we're going to want to import the drivers, and we're going to set drivers here. And what we're going to say is we're going to say WebDriver dot Chrome like so, and we're going to say service. This is where we're going to use a service library, and we're going to use Chrome driver as so, and then dot install like so. I just want to make sure I got that. Okay, perfect. Okay, so what is happening here is this now, like after we initialize the Chrome driver as before, the Chrome driver manager is automatically downloads and manages the correct Chrome driver version, and this helps avoid any compatibility issues between Chrome and the driver itself. So that's kind of why this line is being included here. Um, it's just something as a safe measure to have, easier to organize and manage. It's and that's kind of why I include it. But it's not a huge part of like the Selenium tutorial, but this is just for my setup itself. Okay, perfect. Now we can actually work on using this driver to get the index HTML file, and pretty much when we get this, we're going to want to put our particular directory where we have that index HTML, this file saved right here. So I'll give you guys a quick demo of this. And since I'm working on MacBook, it's important to update the file path so Selenium knows where to find this file. So let's show you kind of how it works. So I'm gonna just put this in a try statement just to be on the safe side of stuff. So we're just gonna have try, and we're gonna have our finally, and we're gonna just make sure that at the end of it, we're gonna make sure to just quit out of this driver. Oops, did I do? Oh, okay, I see why. Okay. Okay, so this is very important. I'm gonna add this here. Changes must be made here for right directory. Okay, so this is here. I'm writing. I'm gonna leave this comment here because it's gonna be a very important factor to change out where your particular file is. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna type in driver, and then we're gonna click get, and then the layout of it is going to be file and then colon. We're going to slash, oops, not question mark, slash slash slash. So we're going to have 3 slashes in this case. Okay, so then what I'm going to do is I'm going to just go back one directory where my index.html is right here. And since I'm on MacBook, I'm just going to type in pwd to get my current working directory. So since this is where the index.html is, I'm going to just copy this like so, and we're going to add it right here. And then it's very important on the end of it, we add index.html, and this is pretty much to kind of let it know that we're going to initialize this game and start it, and this is where we're going to do the testing on. So remember, this is very important for you guys to do the changes from your end here, because or else Selenium won't be able to pick up what game is being tested on, and then the results are not going to be good. So yeah, so this is what we're gonna do. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add a time dot sleep right here just for 2 seconds. Let it load and start up, do its thing. If you want to change it to have a higher time to sleep, that's totally up to you guys. All right, so if you guys remember from the last video where I gave an introduction of this Blackjack game, I kind of showed how we had, like, for example, these hit, these stand, and restart button. So one way we can leverage Selenium is we can maybe use it to test the hit button, for example. So one way we could do that is by using this driver, this WebDriver library. We can do the following. So I'm gonna just name this hit button, for example, and then what we're gonna do is we're gonna make the driver that we set on top. We're gonna get it set to find element, and we're gonna find this element, and the element we're gonna want to find is should be find elements, I believe. And then we're gonna use this by library that we mentioned above, and we're gonna type in CSS selector. And then the format of this is kind of odd, but it's gonna be something like this, I believe. It's gonna be players cards, and then it's gonna be the dot card. This is just to inherit that CSS styling from before, and remember the dot card was part of those cards for styling wise. Then what we're gonna do here is we're gonna write the hit button, and then we're gonna hit dot click. 1 second, just make sure. I should be spelling driver find elements. Oh, actually, sorry. I definitely want to just comment that out. We'll take a step back from this for a second. Actually, I think what we want to do is we want to bring in that hit button. So what we're gonna do is we're actually gonna do driver. Before we did the HTML, we need to import the button itself. So we want to do find elements, and then by dot I think ID, and then I think the ID, if I remember correctly, was hit button, like so. So this is actually importing the hit button itself. And then now what we can actually do with this is we can type in hit button dot click as in so. So what it does is part of this tool is it'll end up clicking clicking on it. Which is good. So we'll let it do that, and then we'll add another time dot sleep as in so. Maybe we'll just add 1 second, and then we'll bring this code back up here. And what we're gonna say is we're gonna change this actually to the player cards because that's what it's gonna be. And then what we'll do down here is we're gonna type in assert the length of player cards greater equal to 3. Okay. All right. So pretty much what's happening here is we're using the find elements to get all card elements in the player's hand, and this will return a list of elements. And then we use assert to check if the length of the list is greater than or equal to 3. If this condition fails, it means that the game didn't respond correctly to the hit action, and the test will end up failing. So this is kind of a way we're gonna use the Selenium WebDriver testing to see if that is the hit button is working properly. So if you're gonna ask me why greater than equal to 3, it's because just pretty much about when the card is added, there's no like this will end up being the exact value that we want it to increment. It's either going to be equivalent or greater than. So this is kind of a simple check in order to see if the hit button is working. So what we can do is we can actually kind of give it a shot, quickly run it. Oops. So as we have that running, it starts up the game and then it clicks hit automatically and it ends. Very simplistic. I did not do anything from my end. It just did the testing itself. Usually what we're going to do later on in this video, we're going to kind of make a few more test cases as well. And we're going to kind of add some messages as well to see what we might want. So now that this is done, maybe let's give stand button a try. Okay, let's start off now with the stand button. So let's type in stand button. It's going to equal to same process as how it is done for the hit button itself. We're going to want to find the element, and we're going to use the by ID as well, and we're going to look for stand button as so. Same thing. What we're going to do is we're going to type in stand button dot click. So we're going to get it to click. And then what we'll do is we'll do a time dot sleep as well for another 2 seconds in this case. All right, perfect. So now that that's done, what we can kind of do is maybe we can check something like the game status as well. So then if we check the game status is updated, this tells us if the dealer turn is complete and if the game outcome is determined. In this, what we'll also end up doing for this is we'll see the games, like we'll print out a statement where it's like the game status should be updated. So we can kind of get started with that. So what we can do is we can say game status is equal to driver dot find element. Then once again, we'll find element by ID, and this time we're going to be looking for game status, which is also an ID within the HTML itself. And then we're going to type in, this time, since it's not a button, we're going to type in .text because it is the text being portrayed. And then what we can do is we can type in a print statement here just to display out to the terminal to get a better idea. And then we'll say game status. And then what we'll do is type in game status like so. Okay, and then now what we'll end up doing is we'll do a similar assert statement as well as we did above for the button. We'll do game status. If it does not equal pretty much null or empty, and then this should be game status should be updated after standing, like so. Okay, so that's kind of how we're gonna be testing for the stand button itself. Now let's do another test and check for the restart button. That's also a big and important factor of the game itself, so we'll give that a try. So restart button, same process as all the other buttons. And we're going to say driver. Driver dot find element. In this case, it is restart button ID. Restart button dot click as well, and then time dot sleep for 1 second as well. Okay, so as you can kind of see, it just pretty much finds the restart button element, it clicks it as well, and then we want to also ensure that after this it's restarting the game properly. So now what we're going to do for the last step is, after restarting, we can check that the game status has been reset, which means the game is ready for the new round. So we can get started by setting game status. Let's maybe start with game status after restart. I mean, not a very clever naming convention, but we'll just go with it. And then what we're going to do is we're going to look for the find element, and we're going to do find by ID. And then in this one, what we're going to do is we're going to look for game status again. And then we have to bring in the .text because this is text format. Okay. And then once again, we're going to just put in a assert statement to see if the game should be reset after the clicking restarts. So assert game status after restart. If it equals this empty, which is good. And then if not, the game should be reset after clicking restart, like so. Okay, so that is kind of done there. So after this, so the steps it's gonna do, it's gonna hit the hit button, it's gonna click it, and it's gonna make sure that the hit button is working accordingly. Then it's gonna start the stand button, same thing, it's gonna check if it works accordingly, and then the restart button as well. And then like I said before, I added the driver.quit, and this is to close the browser window and free up the system resources. This is a pretty important step because leaving the browser open after testing can consume system memory and create unnecessary processes. Let's say if you run this multiple times, you could be opening it up like way too many times. But okay, now we have all of our test cases. Fingers crossed that it works. Let's now test it out and see what happens. So we'll type in Python 3 simple Selenium test, and we'll run it like so. And then as you can see, it hits, it stands, and then now it should click the restart itself and then close itself. So now after that test case, it says status you won, because in this case I did end up winning. So which is great. So it looks like it's doing the test and everything is passing accordingly. Which looks good. So this is kind of like a quick introduction of how like you can use these Selenium testing tools to like um, test web-based projects. And then I think in our next video, we're gonna kind of dive a little deeper into our one-shot Selenium test, where we kind of test absolutely everything of the game and make sure it works. And yeah, if once again have any questions, feel free to reach out to me or message the Discord general chat. I will be uploading this code as well. So if you guys want to play around it with it yourself or add anything, other test cases, feel free to give that a shot. Thank you so much for listening to my video. See you in the next one. Bye bye.